Drew Barrymore has been a household name since childhood, charming, quirky, emotionally open, and often refreshingly unfiltered. So when she appeared as a guest on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, most expected a light-hearted, feel-good interview with laughter, nostalgia, and maybe a few vulnerable moments. After all, Drew and Colbert both share a reputation for balancing sincerity with wit. But what unfolded on that soundstage shocked not just the studio audience, but viewers around the world. Instead of a friendly reunion between two industry veterans, the conversation spiraled into a heated exchange that ended with Drew being asked to leave mid-show. The clash was jarring, personal, and entirely unexpected, a collision of worldviews that no one saw coming. Asterisk, the show opened with the usual pleasantries. Drew danced her way onto the stage. Colbert cracked a few jokes about her long career, and the two settled into what looked like a standard late-night segment. The first few minutes went off without a hitch. Colbert praised her daytime talk show, and Drew talked about balancing motherhood with hosting duties. Then, Colbert pivoted toward the recent controversy that had surrounded Drew when she attempted to resume taping her talk show during a writer's strike. The issue had caused a media firestorm, with Drew receiving both backlash and support from fans and industry insiders alike. Colbert asked the question gently, "You caught a lot of heat over the strike decision. Do you regret how that played out?" Drew, visibly prepared, launched into a heartfelt explanation about responsibility, pressure, and trying to protect her team. Asterisk, but then came the moment that changed everything. Colbert, known for his sharp intellect and pointed follow-ups, pressed. Further, some would say, going back to work during a strike while writers were demanding fair wages wasn't brave, it was opportunistic. The studio fell into an uneasy hush. Drew blinked rapidly. "That's not fair, Stephen. You know me. I've always supported writers. I was just trying to hold my team together." Colbert leaned forward. "But isn't that the same reasoning studios use to justify pushing past labor rights? Isn't solidarity more important than ratings?" Drew's face flushed. Her tone shifted. "I'm not a studio executive. I'm a single mom with a crew depending on me. It's easy to judge from a desk when you're not carrying the entire weight of other people's jobs on your shoulders." Asterisk what? Followed was a volley of increasingly tense exchanges. Colbert accused Drew of using empathy as a shield against accountability. Drew accused Colbert of sanctimony from a place of privilege. "You sit here in your union-protected job with your perfect moral stance," she snapped, "while I had to make real-time decisions with real consequences." Colbert didn't flinch. Real consequences also mean owning the impact on others, including the people marching for their future. You say you support them, but you cross that picket line. Drew stood her ground. "And then I turned around and apologized. Publicly, do you want blood, Stephen? Or are you just here to remind people that you're the most righteous man in late night?" The crowd gasped. The smile was gone from Colbert's face. What had started as thoughtful debate had now become personal. Asterisk, by the 12-minute mark. Producers were whispering frantically in their headsets. The studio air was electric with discomfort. Drew, clearly flustered, removed her mic and asked, "Are we done?" Colbert hesitated, looked at his team, then simply said, "If you're not willing to continue in good faith, then yes, we're done." That single sentence rippled like an explosion. Drew stood up slowly, blinked back tears, and exited the stage without saying another word. The show cut awkwardly to commercial. When the feed returned, Colbert made no jokes. He simply addressed the camera and said, "We're living in tense times. Sometimes those tensions make it into the room. We'll be back after this." Social media had already ignited. The moment was captured on smartphones and live-stream clips from audience members and began circulating at lightning speed. Asterisk within hours. Hashtag Drew vs. Colbert was trending worldwide. People took sides, some calling Drew emotional, impulsive, and out of touch. Others defending her as a working mother trying to navigate an impossible situation. Editorials popped up overnight, dissecting every line, every pause, every raised eyebrow. Viewers debated whether Colbert had crossed a line by turning an interview into an interrogation. Meanwhile, clips of Drew walking off the set amassed millions of views, with reaction videos flooding YouTube and TikTok. Drew's fan base rallied, pointing to her long-standing record of support for workers and mental health. Colbert's supporters praised him for holding a powerful guest accountable, but even among his loyal fans were murmurs that the moment had felt more like a takedown than a conversation. Asterisk the following day. Drew released a video statement through her show's social media accounts. Sitting in her living room looking raw and unedited, she said, "I walked into that interview hoping to have a dialogue. I walked out feeling judged, cornered, and misunderstood. I made a mistake during the strike, and I owned it. I didn't come to Steven's show expecting to be put on trial. I respect him. But last night wasn't respectful to me." The video garnered millions of views in just a few hours. Meanwhile, Colbert opened his next episode with a statement of his own. "We are in a moment where ethics matter. My intention was never to ambush anyone, but sometimes asking hard questions leads to uncomfortable truths. I hope we can move forward with empathy even when we disagree." It was calm, it's measured, but it didn't apologize. Asterisk the fallout was complicated. Executives at CBS privately expressed concern over the incident, especially as it played across every platform imaginable. Sponsors were reportedly spooked, unsure whether to side with one of America's most beloved actresses or its sharpest political commentator. Internally, staffers at both shows were reeling. Some insiders claimed Drew felt betrayed by Colbert, someone she once considered a friend in the industry. Others said Colbert felt Drew used her charm to dodge responsibility. But outside their respective studios, the conversation had expanded far beyond them. Audiences were asking bigger questions. Where is the line between interview and interrogation? Can celebrities be held accountable without being publicly shamed? Is vulnerability being exploited for content? Asterisk in the weeks that followed, the media frenzy slowed, but the moment lingered. It was referenced in think pieces about cancel culture, power dynamics in media, and gendered responses to emotional expression. For Drew, the walk-off became both a scar and a symbol. She returned to her show after a brief break, more reserved than usual, but still determined to keep going. Colbert, too, continued less shaken, but perhaps more aware of the emotional toll that righteous confrontation can take, even when warranted. Fans of both still defended their sides, but more voices began acknowledging the complexity. Maybe no one was entirely wrong or entirely right. Maybe it was just a collision of passion, principle, and pride. Asterisk in the end. Drew Barrymore being kicked off The Late Show wasn't just about a personal conflict. It was about the cultural temperature we live in. It was about accountability, forgiveness, ego, exhaustion, and the unbearable weight of constant scrutiny. It reminded audiences that even seasoned stars can break under the spotlight. And it revealed that even the most charming interviews can combust when unresolved guilt meets unrelenting scrutiny. Perhaps the most lasting lesson was this: honesty can heal, but only if it's served with compassion, not condescension. Sometimes, walking away isn't weakness. It's just self-preservation in a world that forgets stars are human too.